afternoon, Bloomers and friends. This is Jack McClellan, your moderator, coming to you from the Palatial Bloom office in Palm Springs, California. I want to give a shout out this week. I'm doing this Bloom Tube because Kevin and Mike are on vacation. They're up doing, as he called it, the Great Wisconsin-Minnesota Circle Tour. And what's been fun for them is they're reconnecting with a whole lot of Bloomers up there. Saw a post on Facebook this morning. They're with Ken Cook and David Morrison right now. And so we wanted to shout out to them and all the Bloomers you've been able to see up there in Minnesota so far. And of course then to Rev Kev's family, who I understand are all anxious to meet Mike. So good luck, guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks when you return. But I mentioned David Morrison here for another reason. Some of you may be aware David will not be returning as our music Bloom Notes, excuse me. Tones. Russ is correcting me here. Bloom Tones director, other commitments and whatnot, but has given us an opportunity to step back and take a look at what are we doing with music at Bloom. And something we have learned, not just unique to Bloom, how important an excellent music program is. As a matter of fact, in the surveys that we have done with members of the congregation that you have been so kind to give us feedback, music is very important to you. We've also seen, Kevin said to me once, people more likely to not return to a church because of bad music than they will be because of bad preaching. Don't know what that says about Kevin, but we'll deal with that in a different issue. So what we're doing is we're taking a look at what we're doing right now with music, how we got to where we are, and where we think we want to go with in the future. To that end, we have convened I'll call it an ad hoc committee made up of members of the Bloom Choir, made up of people who understand music and whatnot. We've also solicited input from David and from Dorian. Some of you may remember him from a couple years ago who was involved. And what we've done here, or we're looking at doing, is I interviewed two different candidates that we're going to be discussing near the end of the month of looking at offering a position of something we call music director. It may shift a little bit based on the candidate, but what we're looking at doing is bringing back what I call the Dorian model, where one person is in charge of music all 12 months in terms of what goes on Sunday mornings, but in addition also leads the choir. Bringing a more cohesive look to our music that we present to the congregation and to new visitors when they come in. Kind of watching this and how we'd manage change here at Bloom. I'm very proud of the way we've done this. It's trying to be very open, part of why I'm talking about it here today, soliciting input from our congregation, because this is your church, it is your music program. It's our stewardship to meet up to your standards. So we've interviewed these two people. We are looking at, again, the one person to handle the music all year long, hiring the musicians for a Sunday morning, hiring the special musicians that we have sometimes once a month, managing that budget. Instead of having it reside at Kevin's desk, have it reside with the music director. Also looking at improving the overall tone. We're looking at somebody who's a professional choir director or who has done this in the past. And we're happy to say we've got two exceptional candidates that we're going to have to make a decision on. We're looking at perhaps making changes in how often we have different musicians on a Sunday morning, how often or how many people we have as choir support, how the music director will fit in with directing as well as a rehearsal pianist and things like that. But that's also driven the budget side. So I'm going to close off with the issue about budget. Good music costs money. I was surprised when I came in, not surprised, but I learned something when I came in as treasurer, that we are committed to an excellent choir, and part of that is to have what we call choir support. These are not members of Bloom, but they are members of the choir, but they are professionals, and they are paid. Just as a Sunday morning musician would be, they are paid. And they support the overall sound that we get out of our choir. We also like to have the variety of musicians on a Sunday morning. Sometimes we have a harpist, sometimes we have percussion, sometimes it's a soloist singing. We want to maintain that. But again, those are professionals, and they cost money too. So we're looking at bringing in somebody who can manage all that whole process for Bloom and can work with us as we go forward. Because just as we are today with music, we've come from many different places in the past. Kevin related to both candidates the history and how we started off at Palapis. Obviously, I was not here. Many of you were not either. With Kevin putting together a CD that Mike would push the button on a Sunday morning, and that would be the music. To the next step where we bought the sound to go behind the hymns when we bought the hymnals, and that was what we had. It was not live again. And now every step of the way was always meant to make music better. And we've done this because we've gotten great feedback from our members. So we're going to keep you informed as where we are in this process. And it may cost some more money next year than what we're paying. We'll obviously come back to you on the budget issue. So until those things all happen, keep having a wonderful summer. Be careful of the heat out there. It's rather warm. And we'll see you all next week.